just do it. Just take the action. I mean, keep your word to yourself. Be in integrity with what you said you were gonna do. Have you heard these phrases before? I'm sure that you have. And the person who has said those phrases, essentially what they're getting at is accountability. Likely well-intended and yet not effective. And if you've heard it the way that I said it, and like maybe you heard it too, right? Like it often comes from a place of like superiority and shaming, damning, condemning the person who isn't just doing it, who isn't taking the action, who isn't keeping their word to themselves. So we're going to unpack this idea of accountability today. Hi, my name is Heather Patterson, and here on this channel, we talk about goal achievement, happiness, mindset, all the things as it relates to life, leadership, and love. And today I want to talk with you about accountability. See, in order to get from where you are to where you want to be, that's what I help with, you will likely need a form of accountability. And the idea of just do it and keep your word to yourself and all that, that's really great, yet often misguided. Let's dig in. Now, I have been coaching and consulting like formally for over 15 years. And I am hard pressed to think of really anybody that I've worked with that was moving the needle forward, right? Going from where they currently were when we first got together to where they wanted to be, that they didn't need some level of accountability. I mean, they just go hand in hand. Like, if you didn't need the accountability, you likely wouldn't hire a coach. Now, would you hire somebody else, right? Like an instructor, right? Sometimes like there's coaches who do more of the how-to, yet often if we're talking about growth and development and progress and forming new habits and blazing new trails, you're talking about a coach who also has accountability as an aspect of what they do. And so I hear these like, I don't know, I kind of call them like bro coaches. These like, and like there's a place for them, okay? There's people, that's their flavor of ice cream that they like. It's cool, it's fine. It's not my flavor. But I hear these like very sharp and shaming like, commands around like taking action. And of course you have to take action. Like, of course you do. Yet, like most people are wired in a way that they are going to be more inclined to take the action when they've communicated to another person that they're going to be taking the action. Now, a brilliant book and way that I discovered this, like in more of a formal sense, is through a book called The Four Tendencies by Gretchen Rubin. I'm going to show it up here. Okay, we can get into like a full book review some other time. I'm not going to go into the whole thing, but essentially she studied this idea of meeting expectations and inner and outer expectations. And what she found was there are 4 tendencies. And one of them being called the upholder, a person who inherently like just does it, like whether they told themselves they were going to do it or they told somebody else. Then there's what's called the obliger, the person who is more inclined to oblige to another, right? When they tell another that they're more likely to take the action as opposed to just keeping it to themselves. Then there's what's called a questioner who needs to understand like why and be compelled to and enrolled in this idea of, taking action in whatever way. And then there's another tendency called the rebel. And well, that's exactly how it sounds. It's sort of like they're going to rebel against themselves and likely somebody else too. Okay. And we all have pieces of each to some degree or another. One is not worse. One is not better. But let me tell you what I really want to focus on that comes out of this book. The research from her sample population is that, what's the number? Let me go to my notes. Is that 41% of the population is obligers, meaning 41% of people need to say, hey, friend, I'm gonna go to the gym tomorrow. I'll text you a picture when I'm done of my sweaty face. If you've been following me on Instagram, you know that I actually use Instagram as a accountability method. I have somebody that I text that's not my partner, right? That doesn't live in my household, that won't help me make excuses, right? That I text for the sake of fitness, right? Maybe you can relate. It's likely that you ended up here because you need some accountability, right? And so where I really want to, I don't think we need to spend a lot of time on the value of accountability. It's pretty obvious when you say you're going to do something and you have somebody else there to inspect whether or not it was done. There is value. There is a value in having to kind of report back. Nobody wants to report back and go, I didn't do it, right? And if you do end up in that situation, often the person on the other side can help you move through and process as to why you didn't do it and what are you going to do next and keep moving forward, right? So that's the value. I don't need to spend a lot of time there. What I do want to do though is just really underscore that there's nothing wrong. There is nothing wrong with you needing accountability. There's not, in fact, there's plenty of other people. Of those 4 tendencies that I mentioned, like I said, the obliger makes up 40%. That's the largest. They're not equally distributed. It is not like, well, quarter here, quarter there, da da da. No, 40% is the largest piece of that pie of the population. So if anything, it's like you're kind of just like a lot of people, You're like mostly half, nearly half of every other person. So why fight it? Like if you really want to make a change in your life, in your business, in your fitness, in your relationships, in the way that you lead and communicate, on and on and on, right? If you really want to make a change, why wouldn't you have accountability? Right? So that you can't go and hide in the corner, so that you can't let your mind get the best of you, right? Why wouldn't you? And why the hell would you judge yourself based on needing that? And why would you let anybody else judge you for needing that? That's just silly. Accountability is like an insurance policy for your success. There's nothing to be ashamed of by needing some accountability. Now, finding the right accountability partner or structure system is going to be useful, right? You got to understand who you are. You got to be willing to have somebody who you can be very honest and transparent with. You've got to decide, do I want just yes, no, I did, I didn't, or someone to process with like a coach or maybe a therapist or a mentor. I'm thinking about programs like the various 12-step programs and having a sponsor. There's accountability there. I mean, it really runs the gamut. And so you've got to know and understand yourself to set up the proper systems. For me, as far as health and fitness goes, it is almost a day. It's like 5 to 6 times a week, a text message with pictures to prove it, right? Because I could fib. I could stretch the truth. I could do all those things. I don't want to, I'm a bit beyond that, and that could happen. And if I left it up to my honey, look, we like to cuddle. I don't like to necessarily get up and go to the gym in the morning. So it behooves me to tell a friend, and we got that going, right? Whereas in my business, I've hired someone. We hang up on our calls. Okay, by the time our next call, I'm gonna have this, that, and the other. It's spelled out. That's often a part of what I do with my clients, depending on, their personality and their natural tendencies. We don't need to try and flex and form and be bendy like pretzels into somebody that we're not. There's enough effort being, expended on changing your mindset and mustering up courage and breaking through, fear and all of that. If you need accountability, just get it. Figure it out. Don't judge yourself for it, and don't let anybody else judge you for it either. If you enjoyed this video, I'm so glad. I'd love it if you would hit that like button. That helps other people find it. And I hope that you'll stick around and watch some more. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you next time.